Hi, I'm Dan Hale, head gardener here at Brodsworth Hall, where I've been head gardener for nearly 9 years. Brodsworth's a Victorian formal garden with all the key Victorian features. An amazing Victorian formal flower garden with about 24,000 bedding plants, a Victorian fern dell, and an amazing Victorian rose collection. Everything we do at Brodsworth Hall is focused around the Victorian era. So all the plants, all the design, the styles that we do is all Victorian. So every plant that you'll see would have been available or introduced pre or in the Victorian era. And that's the style that we adhere to. So there's so much to see at Brodsworth. There's so many different elements to the garden. I suppose one of the key things that everybody talks about with Brodsworth is the topiary and the amount of evergreens we've got. We've got well over 1,000 pieces of clipped evergreens. So we're just walking down towards his main topiary beds. Somebody asked me recently, what's your favourite plant or tree? And I said to him that it was Taxus baccata yew, which I think everyone was a bit confused by. But I said, well, if you think about it, in most gardens, for example, it makes up the bulk of our topiary pieces. It's the dividing line between the formal and informal, so it creates these amazing hedges. You know, it's also an amazing tree when it's allowed to become natural as well, so you can do everything to it and it performs so well. We then come into the amazing flower garden, which has been in about 2 weeks now. It's about 24,000 plants in here now, and as you'll be able to see, the beds are all slightly mounded. With this design, it's very much a lot of begonias, but different colours of begonia. So the edging plant is a begonia sempervirens, and then the working plants are the non-stop begonias, but we've got different colours in there. We've got reds, yellows, orange, and this amazing pink, which I think has actually become my favourite one now. And then we've got dot plants in there, so we've got cannas in bananas. The Trachycarpus fortunei we leave in the beds, so they'll stay in all year round and they give you that nice height and structure. We've got an amazing Victorian fern dell, which is telling the story of the Victorian fern craze. And the idea in there is to showcase your collection of ferns. So instead of it being a lot of ferns planted in one area, we try to do one specialist fern in each section of the garden to really showcase that fern off. The one thing I'd say about the fern dell is it's quite open to the elements, so some of the ferns, it's probably a bit too sunny in there, so to combat that in recent years, again, we've planted another cercis, an Indian bean tree, and then we've got these amazing Trachycarpus in there. So any of the ferns that are more shade loving, we're kind of highlighting that fact, and then we'll plant specific ferns under the palms, like the tree ferns. Then we come down, we've got an amazing giant redwood, which would have been planted in the 1860s. And the story is that this area was cleared out just for the redwood to go in. Got really soft bark, giant redwoods, so they're an amazing tree. So we've got a lot on site, but this is the oldest and biggest. We recently restored the summer house mound, and we put an amazing Mediterranean planting scheme on there, which has been in now about 6 months. And that's really starting to take on the bank, and you know, people are stopping and looking and asking what the plants are. And you know, I think give that a couple of years, you know, when it gets more established, that's going to be a real showstopper to the garden as well. Quercus ilex home oak is a Mediterranean tree, so it tied in really well. We didn't actually bring that one in and plant it, that was already there. So when we were looking at what plants to choose, we obviously went down the Mediterranean option, and then we went for things like yuccas, which are doing really well, and there's one about to flower there. The tamarix, the salt cedar, which obviously gets kind of pink tassel-like flowers. You then got a target house at the bottom. The family would have done a lot of archery down there, and the target house would have been used to store the archery equipment. And at the opposite end of the target range, you've got what we call an eye catcher, which is just a folly. And the idea of the eye catcher is to draw your eye down the range. On your right hand side, you've got the target garden and quarry walls. And on your left hand side, you've got what we call the spine banks. So the target garden was restored about 5 years ago. The difference is that we only have one plant in each bed. Like we said when we were talking about the flower garden, we had, you know, 3 to 5 different plants, different colours running through the bed. This just has one block, because the idea is it looks like a mosaic window from an aerial shot, And actually when you look down from the summer house, you get a feeling for that. We then go into an amazing Victorian rose garden with its original Victorian rose arch, ironwork and herbaceous borders sweeping along the back left section. All these roses that you'll see would have been available to the Victorians, so they're all the old classics. It's all about scent with the roses that we've got in here. I think my favourite's the Tuscany Superb, which is the darker one, because I just think the different coloured tone to it and the scent as well. I think it's incredible. And then we come into a more natural rose area, which I suppose doesn't sound quite right, but it is. It's a species rose Dell. So obviously we've just gone from a really formal rose garden, and this is more about kind of leaving the species roses, you know, ramblers and things to kind of do their own thing. Key favourite one for me, the older one here, is Rosa glauca, because of the colour of the foliage, that real kind of nice purpley tone. The most rewarding aspects is probably visitor reaction. That's what we do it for. We do it for people to come and, like I said, immerse themselves into that period of garden history and keep Victorian gardens relevant for future generations as well, to be able to come and see. You know, you don't one day, as we research what they did in the kind of 1860s, that people look back and look what we did, you know, and it's all legacy stuff. You know, and I always say that to the team and volunteers, that, you know, we're writing his names into the history book, as did the Victorian gardeners. I do hope with visitors, I hope they take away inspiration for their own gardens. But I suppose in a way, it's somewhere that they feel like they can just come and enjoy and be blown away by what's in front of them.
To find out more about visiting Brodsworth Hall, head over to their website by following the link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to Horticulture Magazine for more. Thanks for watching!